Hi everyone, welcome to Bonnie Caroline Makes Cards. I'm very excited to be participating in Alex Syberia's July release. This video focuses on a beautiful image called Tropical Bouquet. At the end, I have included photos of cards made with other images in this release. So let's get started. I began by printing my image on Neenah Solar White Classic Crest 80-pound cardstock. With the design in mind, I cut the image about 2/3 of the way down. I then began Copic coloring. I knew that I wanted this image to be colored with rich, bold colors. What I had not figured out at this point were the colors that would be included in the background. I mention this because it's kind of backwards for me. I typically will start with my background colors and then let that lead the way to the other colors that are incorporated into the design. With that being said, I began coloring the hibiscus flowers with rich blue-violet tones. I used BV08, 04, and 02. The stamens were colored with Y17 and 13. I colored the plumeria in reddish pink tones using R46, 43, and 000. I don't often use red and purple together. I think that you need just the right design for this to work. I hope you agree that this tropical bouquet is the piece to create a head turner with these colors. With that in mind, I wanted the flowers to remain the star of the show, so I looked for more muted tones to color the leaves. For the finely divided leaf, I used a series of blue-greens, BG 96, 93, and 90. For the large flat leaves, I wanted to incorporate the soft violet that was used in the highlight of the hibiscus flowers. These leaves were colored with BV 00, 000, and W3. I wasn't completely happy with the coloring of these leaves and ended up coming back to them later. I saved myself some time and cut this image out on my Scan and Cut 2. I selected the smallest border, which I believe is about 1/8 of an inch. What I haven't figured out is how you remove those background pieces when they're in the interior of your image, but I'll come back to that. So now for the selection of color for the background. Initially, I was going to go with dark grays. In the end, I decided I would push the envelope. I chose Distress Oxides, Candied Apple, and Fossilized Amber. This selection picks up the colors used in the plumeria and the stamens on the hibiscus flowers. I love the tropical feel, reminding me of a beautiful sunset or a delicious cocktail, like maybe a Mai Tai or a tequila sunrise. When I laid out my pieces on my background, I wasn't liking those white pieces in the interior of the image. So I dug out my cutting board from the kitchen and my Martha Stewart craft knife and got to work. I mentioned earlier in the video that I wasn't completely happy with the coloring of the violet leaves. I ended up adding in some more darker violet tones, BV02 and 04. Now I was ready to add in my sentiment. I chose Do What Makes Your Soul Shine from Pink Fresh Studios' My Favorite Things to Say. After applying some anti-static powder to the panel, I stamped with Versamark ink. The impression was heat embossed with Wow Gold Rich embossing powder. The lines in this text are a little bit thicker, making it a perfect candidate to emboss twice. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, you will have noted that I use this technique often. Now to assemble the card. The ink blended panel was die cut with a stitched rectangle die prior to embossing. It was then attached to a blue-violet cardstock base. The Neenah Solar White Classic Crest 110-pound card base is A2 sized. The other two panels were cut down so that there would be an 1/8 of an inch border for each. The tropical bouquet was attached to the panel with some white glue. The larger of the divided image was placed at the top. I finished up with some black Nouveau drops in the center of the plumeria and then a smattering of gold Nouveau drops here and there on the card. That wraps up this card featuring Alex Syberia's July release, Tropical Bouquet. Here are some additional cards that I have made using other images in this release.